How's it going, sixth graders? Mr. Plog coming to you from the apartment today. Beautiful sunny day outside. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and we're going to pick up. This will be April 15th's lesson with Colonial Latin America. So yesterday, a couple things. We started with our new textbook, right? Independence for Latin America. One thing that I forgot to mention yesterday was that you are assigned a number. So the number that you're given in this textbook, if you open up the front cover here, it has been logged that you are going to receive that number. So when we get the book returned, which will probably be before we come back from distance learning, you're going to be expected to have turned those books in, and I will be taking inventory. So if your number ends up going missing, you will have to replace the textbook, okay? This shouldn't be anything new, right? This is stuff that we've been doing since the beginning of the year. It's just because now that we're at home instead of at school, it might be a little bit different planning, but hopefully that's not a big shock to you hearing that news, okay? So that being said, yesterday you should have had the first reading guide in this new unit. Let's see, the vocab and the first 5 problems done. And we'll be finishing the second, I'll say half, it's probably a little bit more than that, for homework tonight. Okay, and we did finish about halfway through our note slides yesterday, so we'll get that done today. All right, let's hop right into it. We're gonna go from the Google Classroom page so you can see what's up. Okay, so sorry, I got to get this. This is the video software. So if you're wondering what this is every time, that's why we keep seeing that. So just a really quick reminder, we've got the warm up again, and it asks you to look at this new encomienda system that the Spanish leaders came up with in their colonies and see if you can relate it to the Estates General. Now, there are some differences, right? I mean, the people here that you're going to see, these are going to be not Spanish people, right? They were their own people before the Spanish showed up. So there's a difference there. But I think there are a lot of similarities, and it's the way that the common people were given very little rights, right? And the encomienda system, if you translate that into English, it actually means the commission system. And it's because Spanish leaders would come over from Spain and they would be commissioned or given a whole bunch of native laborers to basically do whatever they wanted to do with them. The native laborers had no choice in the matter whatsoever, okay? Now, as we know, there becomes a problem with that system besides the fact that it's basically like one step below slavery, which is really bad. And that's that the people that they have commissioned to work for them, they start dying, and they start dying really, really fast, okay? So hopefully you've got your note slides out, whether you're doing it on the computer or you're doing it on paper because it was provided for you. And we're going to get started. All right, this is where we left off yesterday, talking about the Creoles. Now, the Creoles, remember, they are white people. They are not native people in any way, shape, or form, not even a little bit, okay? Their ancestry is going to be completely traced back to Europe. The only difference is that they were born in the colony that they live in, okay? So that's really important to remember, because the Creoles are going to start to believe that they might know better than those people that were higher up than them, those peninsulares, okay? Remember, if you're taking notes and you need a minute, hit pause, and you can always pick up later. Okay, the next are going to be mestizos. Now, this is not considered a politically correct term. What I mean by that is if you referred to somebody by that name today, that is not, how do I say this? Not racially correct. But we're going to refer to these groups by these names because this is what they would have been referred to at the time. And when we take a look at our historical documents, they will be referred to as these names. So we need to know what it means, okay? So mestizos are going to be part of mixed ancestry, and it's going to be a specific type. So they will have, usually it comes from the male side, but they're going to have European blood and native blood. So I think this picture is trying to get at that you have a European, a native, and then the daughter would be considered a mestizo. They were not allowed to hold public office, just like Creoles. Very important, right? Even though there's some European blood in them, they're not allowed. Now, someone who was referred to as a mulatto at that time, once again, we do not consider this to be a very racially correct term to use. However, we do need to use it now so we understand what it means when they're referred to in other texts, okay? This is gonna be somebody who has part European blood and also part blood usually from an African slave. We haven't gotten to that part of it quite yet, but we will in just a little bit. They also are not allowed to hold public office either. Now, Indians are full-blown natives, 100% people that have lived there the entire time. Of course, they have no rights because they're going to be the ones that are going to be forced into doing the work in this new system. Okay, now, of course, they can't hold public office, but at least with these other groups of people, mestizo, mulatto, they were allowed to be exempt from some of the horrible, horrible jobs like working in the mines. But they were not allowed to hold public office at all. And then eventually we're going to have the natives die in huge numbers, both from overwork and also from disease. Now, native or African slaves will be brought in, and we're going to watch a video tomorrow to show just how much numbers that's going to be once smallpox really starts to hit. But I've been asked in the past, why don't the African slaves have that same problem with the smallpox that the natives do? And it's actually because Portugal had been in Africa for quite some time getting slaves from the people, the kings that would sell them to them. And because of that, it's believed that these African populations had enough exposure to smallpox that it didn't kill them in such numbers. They still definitely got it, but it wasn't like 90% of people were going to up and die because they had no exposure to the illness. They had enough where it wasn't going to be automatically fatal on first contact. All right. Well, we have some questions for reflection here. So for an enrichment activity today, I think this would be really, really important to look at for a quiz that you'll probably be getting sometime next week. But we obviously can't go through these together because we're not sitting in the same room. Okay. So there are your notes for today. Make sure that after you're done with this, that you head over to your exit ticket and get that done as soon as you can. Your homework tonight is going to be doing numbers 6 through 18, finishing up that very first section of your reading guide, okay? Tomorrow, we're going to be moving to a specific case, and it actually isn't going to be a Spanish colony. It's going to be a former French one. It's called Saint-Domingue, or as we know it today, as Haiti. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.